Hi guys, so welcome to my YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is dedicated to anyone learning data science from scratch. Pablo here, and today we're going to be looking at the break statement. In the previous video, you should look it up. We talked about a simple while loop. Now we're going to introduce the break statement. Now, what is the break statement? Now, we know that the while loop executes or evaluates if a condition is true or while the condition is true. If the condition is true is the is a for loop, right? And for the while loop, while the condition is true, it executes. So right here, while the condition is true, right? Now, in a situation where we need to exit the loop prematurely, that's where we need the break statement. So the break statement is used to exit the loop prematurely. So that's what it does, right? So again, remember, it will do that regardless of if the loop condition is still true or false. So the break statement is used to exit loops, when a certain condition is met, right? So I'm going to show you a simple loop statement, a break statement, and then we can go ahead to look at what we have done initially. So the first thing we're going to do is imagine we have a count, which is equal to 0, right? Then we say while true, this is the while statement. We need to print the count, right? Now we're just going to add count plus 1 so that we plus or equal to 1. Now, so that means as it's 0, right, while true is going to print it and there's going to add 1 to it. Now we go on to introduce an if statement, and you remember what an if statement does. It evaluates if it's true, right? Then we're going to say if this count is equal to 5, remember what the equality sign is, says in between this, with this ampersand, anything on the left and the right are equal to each other, right? Then we break. So what it's saying is when we get to 5, we need to break this. Normally, if we don't have the break statement here, we'll probably just keep going. So so you see here, we have this, we have the condition over here, we have count equals 0, we have the condition while true, it will print. And then because it's a cycle, while true, it's going to add 1 to it. Then if we get to a count of 5, we'll break. So basically when it gets to a count of 5, it breaks. So that's what the break statement does. Now, let's go back to what we have done initially. So we could just introduce this. So remember here, we had a simple while loop. So I'm just going to copy this and I will bring it over here. So we want to use this. So here we want to illustrate the break statements, right? Now, so here, let's just take this out. So we have a bank underscore savings, which is 0, savings underscore week, which is this. Now recall over here, we had a simple while loop. So I'm just going to take this again. And this time I am going to make a little change to it. So we said while bank underscore saving is less than, okay, let me just make this 100. So you see what we did here. So now with this, we already have this. With this, we say when it's less than 100, well, savings every week, let us add 10 naira to it. And so we're going to print our savings. So you see what happens here. We're going to do this until we get to 100. So once it gets to 100, it stops because that's a condition. So while this condition is true, this works. Then something happens somewhere in this savings scheme and we say, no, we no longer want to get to 100. So we come here and we say, if savings, no, sorry, if bank savings, yes, the bank savings is equal to 70, we want it to break. So I want it to break. So what happens here? We come over here and execute the start here, and then we run this. And so you see what happens? Once it gets to 70, it breaks. So this is an illustration of what the break statement looks like. So again, a recap is we talked about the break statements. So let me just start a little bit with the while loop. Created a while loop. While loop executes. It continuously executes while the given condition is true. And so we created a while loop, and then we had a while loop over here with a condition less than 50, and was able to print it until it got to 50. Now introduce the break statement. The break statement, there's a condition in the reality of things. There's a condition where we might want a premature exit, or we might just want to stop something, or there's a change in some sort of the conversation going on. So we need to make changes to it. So what we did is we illustrated a while loop here, rather the break statement here. So let me illustrating the break statement. Right, documentation is key. And then we illustrated it over here. We can see what we wanted here was while true, we add 1 to it. With the count at 0, we add 1, and it just keeps going in a circle, but we break when it gets to 5, right? And so we went back to our initial illustration of a simple while loop, and then we now introduced a break to it. So when we get to 70, while we're saving and it's 70, let's break. So that's what happens. So take your time, watch the break statement, really interesting. And also keep an eye on the playlist for use cases, because all these things we're doing, we're eventually going to put it there so that it could make some sense when it comes to data analysis. Like, share,